Hey guys, JRChunks21 here. Guess what? It is apparently Take 5 time. We are literally doing Take 5 of the Fallout videos of FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus, its lore, real-world implications, and other information that you guys may find interesting. So I say we hop right in and get things going before I fuck up again and have to do this all over again. So let's start with what we know about the bioagents the Chinese used in the Fallout universe, because that's important on why FEV was created. So let's start here with the only bioagent ever listed, the new plague. Now, we have a canon and non-canon sources, so they may be mixed up in my notes, but let's get started. The new plague is a social virulent disease, meaning it spreads by social interaction between people. Parties, swinger parties specifically. So symptoms: profuse sweating, contusion, swelling, external bleeding, gestation period of 3 to 5 days, respiratory clogging or respiratory failure, you're choking on your own blood, drowning. Survival, with those that survive will be sterile. Now we know that it was unleashed, non-canon, in Project Van Buren in Denver. It killed 200,000 people. The earliest divergence in the Fallout universe is 1950, in my opinion. So, in my eyes, we're going to go off Denver's population in 1950 as our baseline. And we're going to calculate how many people Denver would have in 2052. There's a formula. I made it up. It's all on my paper. But we're going to go off of their population growth in 2016 by the census, who estimated in the next 10 years, every year, Denver would grow in 100,000 people. By 100,000 people, I do believe. So if we do that, 2052's population of Denver would be 1,915,786. CDC has a formula to devise how high a mortality rate a disease has. You take the number of people killed by said disease, divide it by the population, multiply by 100,000. So 200,000 divided by 1,915,786 times 100,000 gives you 10,440 people per 100,000, or a percentage of 10% mortality rate. Now, if we're going by my numbers, that's still a really high mortality rate. And so at this point, I wish you guys would hit that like button, because we're going to dive into FEV. We're going to dive into FEV, we're going to dive into each of the potential bioagents according to the Center for Disease Control that a government or a nation would love to use against the United States of America. One of these we're going to count off because I don't believe it would actually do what a country would want. But we'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to do all of that and much more in this video. We've also got some gameplay playing in the background, so if you like to watch me shoot raiders in the face with big guns, watch that while you're listening. It's really nice. So let's get started here by going into the new plague. What could the new plague be a mix of? We know it's got a little bit of the bubonic plague in it. And I believe it is mixed with ricin, because ricin covers all of the things that the new plague would do, the symptoms that the old plague did not do. Also, ricin has a 3 to 5 day gestation period, meaning that's how long it will take it to kill you. So, but we'll go ahead and dive into each of these. So let's start with the actual category of bioagents. Category A, these have high rates of morbidity and mortality, meaning how deadly they are. Ease of dissemination, meaning how easily they are to spread and unleash onto a populace. Communicability, how easy it is for that populace to catch the disease. Ability to cause a public panic. Again, not only do terrorists like this, but in a war like what we saw in the Fallout universe, China would love this. Because China would get the opportunity to utilize that to break the populace's ability to back its government in its war. And finally, special action required by public health officials. Meaning You're diverting your resources from warfare to homegrown areas. Category A agents suspected to be used by the U.S. government are anthrax, botulism, plague, smallpox, tularemia, and viral hemorrhagic fevers. I'm going to crown out these two. Tularemia is not a good one that a country would use, and viral hemorrhagic fevers also were not bad. The reason I say viral hemorrhagic fevers is because they are too broad of an area. A fatal version of hemorrhagic fever, whatever the hell it's pronounced as, is Ebola. I don't know if that exists in the Fallout universe. If it did, that'd be great. We could count that on the list. If it didn't, no idea. So we're going to dive into each one of the other bioagents. Anthrax, botulism, plague, and smallpox. We already know all about the plague. If you don't know about it, pick up an instrument. So let's start with botulism. Botulism is potentially fatal. It is rare, so it's not likely to be used. Death occurs in only 5 to 10% of people. Yes, it would have existed in 1793. It was founded in Germany. It was discovered. The earliest depictions of a botulism death were from 1793. I have an issue with this because there's no way it would work. 5 to 10%. No country is going to mix that in with a bioagent because it's not got a high enough death rate. So we're going to count botulism out. Yes, they could use it to soften up small targets, but it's unlikely. Also, most of the time it would probably be used against soldiers on the front line to prevent them from wanting to fight, because it causes arm, chest muscles, and leg pains, and weakness in them, vomiting, swelling of the abdomen, and diarrhea. So that might work if you're going to just hit small level targets. But if you're trying to hit the populace of the United States in 2052, and you're China, you want to blow them out of the water because they took back Anchorage and they're coming to China to kick our asses, you want to use something that's going to cause fear. You don't want to break the populace, thus breaking the government. So we're going to go over to anthrax and smallpox. And ricin, of course. We'll go over ricin in a second. Anthrax. Earliest possible existence. It has a high... respiratory anthrax has a mortality rate of 50 to 80%, which would be the socially transmitted version. It would cause a lot of deaths. And it would be a good idea for pre-war China to utilize this to break its targets. But let's go into the history of it. When was anthrax first discovered? Don't worry, we'll get into that. I'm sure you're all wondering. It was discovered by Robert Koch, I like that name, a German physician and scientist. He identified the bacterium that caused anthrax in 1875 in Wolzoten, now part of Poland. And Poland, whatever. In 1905, he was awarded a Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. So if I had to guess... Oh, he was given that for discovering the bacterium of tuberculosis. So, in my opinion, anthrax would be one they probably use for smaller level targets. If they create... Now, we know the new plague was likely created by the U.S. government. That is non-canon from Van Buren. I'm going to count it because it's the only background we have into the new plague. If it comes out in Fallout 76 that China made the new plague, good, we'll count that. Till that time, we're going to call it the U.S. government. The U.S. government would not nix this. Their intentions were to cause death and sterilization. I would say they mixed ricin and the plague. Bubonic plague would cause a mass panic. People would remember the stories from the Middle Ages. They'd realize this is what's happening. We're screwed. It's done. We're dead. We're whatever. And they mix ricin in for the gestation and the respiratory failure. Because ricin covers the stuff that the plague doesn't. So that is why I think it's ricin and the plague mixed together. The other thing that I found interesting when researching this is that there's many other options for mixing stuff in. But anthrax would be a good choice. Smallpox is another socially transmitted disease, and it wasn't declared eradicated by the World Health Organization until 1980. Meaning, in 1950, when the divergence happened, it is very likely that this would happen. And I'm going to look up this other disease that the World Health Organization says was wiped out. Rinderpest. I have no idea what this is. Oh, it deals with cattle. Yeah, it is. I have no idea what it is. It's the only other disease the World Health Organization has declared eradicated. So, FEV. Let's go into a little bit of FEV's history. Virology of FEV is according to Zax 1.2, the FEV is a shifting absorptive megavirus with a protein sheath reinforced by ionized hydrogen, which I actually have confirmed that is possible. That makes it immune to radiation. It is pre-programmed with specific introns or of genetic information for the species of the infected inoculated specimen. The FEV works by copying the host cell's DNA like RNA and placing them into exons, reintroducing host cells, and that is what it does. What it is meant to do is the FEV is meant to make you immune to disease and radiation and other things. How it does this is it rewrites your DNA to make you immune to this stuff. Which some people I've talked to believe that's possible, some don't. I'm not going to declare it either way. Honestly, the most interesting factor I found in this is that there is a potential China was using bioagents we have in real life, which I found incredibly more interesting and more important than people realize. I mean, FEV and the bioagents China used have been a common thread between each Fallout game, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Some other things about FEV that are interesting. It operates more undesirably on subjects with high mutation to their otherwise pure genomes. What this means is people that are exposed to radiation are affected. The sterility of FEV is caused by seeing half cells. Now, for those of you guys who don't know how biology works, human reproductive cells, for men, that's sperm cells, for women, it's the egg. How that works is the male sperm is a half of a cell. When it meets the egg of the female, it turns into a whole cell, resulting in your child, your embryo, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care. The reason FEV causes sterility is it sees those half cells as flaws and changes them to full cells, meaning they are unable to reproduce, which is an interesting factor. Radiation is frequently blamed as the cause of this genetic tainting, with the sole exception of the Master's Lieutenant, who cites immunity from mutated airborne strains of the FEV as the cause instead. Upon expression, the FEV genes typically increase muscle and brain mass. Only one species remained fertile, deathclaws. But according to the Fallout Bible, which is not considered canon, the other species have this due to their survival needs. Rats, mantises, rats, scorpions, and deathclaws. Because if they don't breed, they cannot survive. FEV is inoculated into subjects who are brought into direct contact with an FEV sample, such as that at the Mariposa military base, or injected into subjects directly. Charles Curling managed to create, through alteration, a strain of FEV that is transmissible via aerosol solution. So, we have a lot more information here. Of course, we have all the intel and everything else FEV appears to be kept in vats in the Mariposa military base, and it's green in color. Of course, the Enclave attempted to make modified FEV to only kill those that have radiation or damage to their genetic structure. The East Coast FEV is a different shape. It's different altogether. It has a modified version, and it creates yellow skin super mutants. And then you have the Institute's FEV, which the earliest dated information about it is from Swan's Pond in the Boston Common. So you have FEV strain from the Mariposa military base, Volt 87 in the Capital Wasteland strain, FEV Curling 13 strain, Eden's FEV strain, and the Institute FEV strain. And then we have more non-confirmed canon sources from Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. And we have that. And it is the Voltec strain.
Not afraid of mutants, huh? You're our kind of guy.
And it deals with a mutant named Addis who was attempting to make the mutants fertile. So in all honesty, FEV seems like pretty well-grounded reality from what I've done in my research and asked around. Now mind you, I didn't ask any actual... For the medical stuff, I did consult with a medical professional. But for the biological stuff, I didn't consult with a biologist that is well recognized. I asked biology students and professors at my college. I highly recommend doing research into FEV and these other things. This was a long project that took me several weeks to research and developed a plan on how to deal with this. And honestly, I found it quite interesting. The lore of FEV seems to be the one very constant thing in the Fallout universe. Other than the obvious bombs drop, people run. But everything else seems to change from game to game to game to game. Weapons, armor, how each faction is perceived when it carries over. And it's an interesting thing to realize and look at. That one of the things that remains constant is FEV. And honestly, FEV or PvP, Pan Immunity Viron Project, which is just what it sounds like. Pan meaning all, immunity meaning, well, obviously. Viron meaning virus, and project just meaning project. I honestly find that the lore behind FEV is very interesting to look into. You have biological agents and other things that are not obvious what they are. And that's one thing that I found interesting too. Without knowing what the bioagents are, it's hard to say if FEV would be effective against any of this. Now, if the US government made the new plague, it would obviously know how to counteract it. But if it didn't do the new plague and it was China, how would they know that the FEV would be able to stop the new plague? What if one of these bioweapons did not target genetics? Didn't deal at all with the genetic structure of man? What if it was an indiscriminate killing machine? It could affect anything genetically. Man, dog, it didn't matter about genetics. And that's something I found very interesting. And of course, in the lore of Fallout, you have the scientists who uncover what FEV does to people. For one, the only creatures that could reproduce were roundworms, because they reproduced asexually. Then you have the lore behind the scientists' reaction. They were very impressed with, the rats and everything else because of the growth in their memory and their muscle mass. An incredible factor that anyone would be impressed with. They marked a 200% increase rate in brain activity. That is an incredibly high increase. The only way I can liken that to would be 1 minute you wake up in first grade not knowing what 2 plus 2 is, and the next day you know how to do astrophysics. in a day. That is an impressive growth. And even I have to agree with the scientists, this would warrant more discussion, more research. Now, there's also the lore behind it. They moved to the Mariposa military base. They followed how testing works in real life, where we test on insects, then mammals, then get closer and closer. Of course, in the real world, we don't force people to have experiments done on them. It's 100% volunteer. And that's what I like about the Fallout universe. It shows a darker, more gritty reality. And I found that very interesting in my research. Now, for the inspiration for this video, it comes from me watching Fallout 1 video with Oxhorn. I do really love Oxhorn. Congrats to him on the 1 million subscriber. He's very deserving of it. Now, this video, I've been talking about it on Twitter, so if you guys want to stay up to date with more videos, follow me on at JRChunks21 on Twitter. I'm probably going to upload this on 2 different channels. Probably on JRChunks21 and on the actual gaming channel, because this deals with both. And this is the first video I've had a background in the background, that you guys can watch while I'm talking about this, the gameplay. It is from Fallout 4, so it's going to be a little taxing on my system. There's going to be a little bit of a lag from frame rate, but I honestly think it's fine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it for you guys. I enjoyed doing the research, and I'm sorry it took so long. With college and everything, I just don't have the time. It's been a great year for the channel, and I hope to make next year even better. I hope you guys really do enjoy this video and all other future Fallout videos and Grand Theft Auto videos. I doubt I'll do Grand Theft Auto due to some other limitations going on in the universe of Grand Theft Auto. The Fallout games are definitely coming. And I hope you guys enjoy all of the content I produce for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below what you liked. Tell me what I got wrong. Head on over to the t-shirt shop. There's probably no shirts on there, so head on over to the Patreon and donate a little bit. Patreons get exclusive access to new videos. You guys will get a video a week before it goes up for everyone else. So if you don't want to miss out on that, go ahead and head over to the Patreon. Join up. The lowest level persons get normal content. The next level up, I believe I've got it set to $5 and then $10. At the $10 level, you guys are able to actually get access to videos like this that took a bit of research, because you guys are the ones paying for the video. You are actually paying me to make the video, and that's what I want from you guys. I want you guys to help me make this channel better. Thank you guys every day. Feel free to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, tell your friends, share the video. It's important we get this channel going again. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you guys next time.